What's happening, y'all? I'm gonna give y'all my portfolio update, and just like every week, I'm gonna throw some extra education in there. So I'm gonna hit you with the portfolio update first, and I'm gonna talk about earnings season. Earnings season. So companies they report their earnings, they report their financial statements. They talk to their shareholders in a like a press conference, so to speak, or whatever the case is, and they go over their financials. They do this quarterly. So if you remember when I one of my first videos in this segment, I was talking about buy Nvidia before earnings. I knew Nvidia was going to report good earnings and stuff like that, but I want to show you what to look out for during earnings season, right? Because there are certain things about earnings season certain things about earnings season is gonna tell you what's going on in the economy and what to look forward to after earnings is done, right? So for earnings, you're kind of waiting for the reports. You want to see how good companies are going to report their financials. Did they beat expectations? Did they miss expectations? So on and so forth. And then after that, you already got, their most recent financial statement. It is backdated, so it's not going to be, within, the last couple weeks or so, but it may be backdated since it's quarterly. It may be backdated for June or whatever. So it's probably not counting anything, from July to August. That will be reported in the next quarterly earnings. But let's get into the portfolio, man, and I'm gonna show y'all about more what I'm talking about when it comes to earnings season, right? Because things you wanna look at for earnings season. But I like to give your boy a pat on the back first before I jump into education. So I do think this is the first week that I have not beat the S&P 500. But of course, it is long-term investing. So I don't really care about a week's time. You know what I'm saying? I care more about what's going on over the long run. Like I always tell y'all, you can't beat the S&P 500 every single day or every single week, but you want to at least double, triple, quadruple the amount of percentage return that the S&P 500 is giving you over a longer period of time. So looks like last week I just got 0.66%, not even 1% last week. But the S&P 500 last week, let's pull it up. The S&P 500 last week was up 1.44%. So for the first time in this portfolio, the S&P 500 has outperformed my portfolio for the week. But if we go out for the month, the S&P 500 is up 4.3%. And if we pull up my portfolio for the month, we get close to 3 months. That's how I know it's earnings season. I don't have 3 months yet, but the S&P 500 is 4.3%. And we go to me for the month. I'm up 6.97%. Okay, I like it. It's not that much more than the S&P 500, but I am beating the S&P 500. Within the next week or two, I will be able to show you 3 months. I'm not quite at 3 months yet. They usually report earnings every 3 months. And I started this portfolio the last earnings season. So we coming up on 3 months of 3 months of portfolio updates. As you can see, I finally got 10 shares of Nvidia. Finally got 10 shares. My way of doing a portfolio is to buy your number one player in the portfolio, get 10 shares. But as you can see throughout the process, you maneuver. Now, most of my portfolio is Nvidia. I got 73%. I'm going to need to dilute that to make it a more diversified portfolio. But I wanted to get the strongest position in my portfolio, the most shares, like as fast as possible. So far, I'm up 27% on the money that I invested. It's a total of almost 1,800, but 400 of that 1,800 is profit and growth. Um, that's just money sitting there, man. That's money working for you. We gonna look at my other positions. You might see something a little different here. Um, I still got everything that I had last week. I did buy more Exxon Mobil because Exxon Mobil was down. So I lowered the average of Exxon Mobil. Let's go to investing. I lowered the average of my Exxon Mobil. So I'm still not I'm either still not profitable on ExxonMobil or I'm just hitting it this week. We gonna see in a bit. Y'all bear with me with this loading stuff. But I remember I had an average of 114, and now my average is 110. So since ExxonMobil went down, I dropped the average. I'm still negative on ExxonMobil for about $1. I ain't tripping on no dollar. It's a long time hold. I like ExxonMobil. You know what I mean? It's all good. Gold, I'm still down. I think I got an average about 64 on gold. SoundHound AI, I think I'm up on that one a little bit. I got 2 shares. This is my big play that I was telling y'all about where, you just hoping that it's gonna hit. But out of 2 shares, I'm up 2%, only 50 cent on SoundHound AI. It's a penny stock, so it's more of a gamble, but I think they all right, so I put money into them. And I got one more penny stock. To be honest, this was more just like a stock that I seen was running. I don't really know much of what they do. Don't really recommend doing that, to be honest. It's up pretty decent though for 1 share. Um, 1 share is 318, and I bought like what one? Yeah, I got 1 share, and it went up 12%. So it's doing pretty decent, but is it a quality long-term investment or not? I don't really know. I stand behind everything that I have in this portfolio, except for SoundHound. Of course, I'm throwing it at the win, and ABAT. I'm gonna see what happens with that. Um, so that's the portfolio update. Still beating the S&P 500 over the long term, but now let's get into earnings season. So when earnings comes around, these companies are reporting what they made. They're reporting, if there was issues shipping from China, if there was supply chain issues, if inflation was too high, or if we had to make a lot of layoffs. They're literally breaking down the financials for you about the companies. But there's certain companies that you want to look at during earnings season to give you a generalized idea of the economy. Certain companies move off of the economy, certain companies move better through the economy. So um, let me pull up a earnings calendar so y'all can kind of see what that looks like. And it's usually probably about a month's period of companies just either before the stock market opens or after the stock market closes, they report their earnings. So if you look for Monday, tomorrow, these are the companies that's reporting earnings. No real big names. Usually the big names come probably later on in the earnings season, but these companies are going to report earnings, and they're going to let you know what their bank account, what their pockets look like. So the companies that you want to pay attention to during earnings are companies that are going to shape, like, okay, if you look at financials and you look at the banks, if the banks aren't doing good, most likely nothing's really doing that good financially. Because if banks are doing good, that means people are taking out more loans. If businesses are taking out more loans, that means that they have more money to put towards the business, to build the business and grow. So the more people are taking out loans, the better the economy. The more people can allocate loan money, interest rates might even be low during that time. They can allocate more money to the bank. But if the banks are missing earnings, that can show an overall economical effect. Other companies you want to pay attention to, you want to look at Walmart. Walmart is like the discounted grocery store. Walmart should always beat earnings, but if they're struggling a little bit, if they mention something in their earnings report and they say like, okay, well, I think we're going to take a hit next month. The CEO will kind of give you an idea about what they expect to happen coming up in the earnings report. So if you never experienced an earnings before, whatever the case is, pick your favorite company, log in, tune into their earnings report. You can catch it live. I know Robinhood does a live version of the earnings report, but if you don't catch it live, you could probably always go on YouTube, type in, Q2 earnings report for Amazon 2025, and you could get the earnings report, and Amazon will kind of give you, what they did well and what they saw might be a struggle or might be a struggle coming for the next quarter. So you want to look at companies like Caterpillar. Caterpillar, if a lot of Caterpillar machines are being bought, that means homes are being built, right? So Caterpillar earnings, even if you're not interested in Caterpillar stock, if you look at Caterpillar's earnings will let you know if more buildings are being built, right? Walmart will let you know, okay, people are, what I'm saying, spending more money. Home Depot and Lowe's will let you know people are making home renovations. So the economy can't be too bad when people are making home renovations. Or what there's certain sectors in the market that you want to look at, or certain companies that will give you an idea of the trajectory of the market or the trajectory of that company. So you could pick a company's earnings report, and by looking at just a certain industry, if the banks are missing earnings, that's a bad thing. Tech, they should never miss earnings. Your tech play, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, should never miss earnings. Like companies like Tesla, high growth stock. I know Tesla has missed earnings before. So even though I like Elon Musk as a CEO, real smart dude, real, what I'm saying, he's that dude. But I know Tesla miss earnings sometimes. So just by looking at the financials, I don't invest in Tesla, even though it probably might be a good stock to buy. So what I want you to do, if you want to, do some homework, I want you to pick a couple, maybe one or two. Maybe one or two. I could give you, what I'm saying. If you want to choose Caterpillar and a bank, or your favorite tech stock, Amazon and Nvidia, whatever it is, look at certain industries, and certain industries can tell you what people are spending money on and what they're not spending money on. So if McDonald's is struggling during their earnings, then that's not a good sign, because that's a quick, low cost meal. That's not a good sign if McDonald's is struggling during earnings. But you know, look at the industry and look at how they relate to the economy. And if that industry is not doing good, or the best company in that industry is not doing good, chances are there's something economically related for them not to do good. Then the company might have a downturn. It might go down a little bit after earnings, and it will be on sale for you. Tech companies you buy no matter what, they're always going to beat earnings. They're the best. Put your money in tech. You could do it blindly. It's all good. But the earnings season is time for you to not only get a picture of the economy, but also know what moves your companies are making, and how they're doing financially, right? I kept it short and sweet for y'all today, man. I gave y'all the portfolio update. We still beating the market, and we went over earnings. Next week, I'm probably going to go over international companies and diversifying your portfolio in other countries. Of course, the best country to invest in is the USA, but don't sleep on other countries, because they got some sleeping giants, and we're gonna go over that next week. So get your passport ready so we could go overseas to go shopping for some stocks next week. I'm Mike the Money Motivator, man. Y'all like and subscribe.